quadratic equations involving word problems. Now we're going to do a few more different practices that includes the textbook exercise 3.5 and textbook revision exercise 3. Now please mark the following questions down into your exercise books. The capacity of the petrol tank of a car is 60 liters. The petrol consumption rate of the car is X liters per 100 kilometers on city roads and X minus 2 liters per 100 kilometers on highways. What does this actually mean? So it tells us that a full tank of 60 liters petrol, I want to find how much will I need drive, how far will I be able to drive, right? So on city roads, I have X liters per 100 kilometers. A full tank has a petrol of 60 liters. So what is the distance? I'll take 60 divide by X times 100. So that is 60 over X times 100, and that gives me 6,000 over X kilometers. Now on highway roads, okay, we have X minus 2 liters instead. So X minus 2 liters per 100 kilometer, and we would like to find a full tank of 60 liters. How do we find the answer? 60 over X minus 2 times 100. So that will be 60 over X minus 2. And we will get 6,000 over X minus 2 kilometers. Okay. For 60 liters of petrol, the car can drive 200 kilometers longer on highways than on city roads. Let's take a look. I want to have a distance of 200 kilometers longer on highways. For our city, the X itself, we use more petrol. So the distance traveled will be shorter. So, but on highway, I use lesser petrol. So what can you say about the distance? It will be longer. And the difference is the 200 kilometers. So in order to get a difference, I'm going to take the longer minus the shorter one to give you 200 kilometers. So what is the expression that we should use? What minus what will give you 200? The longer, which is 6,000 over X minus 2, minus the shorter one, which is 6,000 over X. And now what do we need to do? We make them the same denominator. Multiply by X over here. And multiply by X minus 2 over here. Be careful of the negative sign. So we'll have 6,000x minus 6,000 times X minus 2 gives you 200. Now let's take a look at expanding the numerator and denominator. This is negative 600, negative 2. So I'll get 6,000x. Okay, let's expand the denominator as well. Minus 6,000x plus, because it's negative times negative, it becomes plus 1,200 to be, 12,000, sorry, to be equals to 200. Next, we can cross multiply. and we'll get 12,000, and this one will be 200 times x squared minus 2x. Expanding it, we'll get 200 x squared minus 4x. Now you notice that equation asks you to get x squared equals to 0. So I'm going to shift it to become 0. Okay, then they want a x squared. They don't want a 200x squared. So what can we do? We'll divide throughout by 200. And then we should be able to get the answer shown. Have you gotten the answer? Solve the equation x squared minus 2x minus 60 equals to 0. Now, what can we use to solve the equation? We can either solve by using the quadratic formula. So what is the value for my A, B, and C? Then x equals to negative B plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now let's plug in the numbers. B is negative 2, A is 1, C is negative 60. And using our calculator, we have a mod 3. We can try to use the quadratic equation formula, and hence we'll be able to get our solution to be 8.8102, or second solution, negative 6.8102. Then we try to round it off because they didn't give us the answer accuracy, so we round off to 3/6. The question asks us to solve the equation, so I'm not going to reject anything. But then in part 3, I will need to use the answer given to me to find the distance that the car can drive on city roads with 40 liters of petrol. Now I have two different answers. Remember that x is the amount of petrol used. Can x be a negative number? No. So in this case, we are going to say using x to be the positive number, and we need a more accurate answer. So that would be 8.8102. Okay, so normally x liters, 8.8102 liters per 100 kilometers as per given in the question. Now they ask us to find out how far can we travel with 40 liters. How do we get the answer? That will be 40 over 8.8102 times 100. So the distance will be 40, and it gives us a distance of 454.019, rounded off 454 kilometers. Have you gotten the answer? The height of a triangle is 3 cm less than its base. The area of the triangle is 90 cm square. Find the base of the triangle. Now let's draw a triangle. So I know that the triangle has a base, and I shall let the base of the triangle be x. Okay, so let x be the base of the triangle. So I'm going to have this base over here to be x. The height of the triangle is 3 cm less. So the height is 3 cm less. That will be x minus 3. So x minus 3 cm. Now we know that the area of the triangle is given to be 90 cm square. How do we find area of triangle? Half times base times the height. So remember, put brackets for x minus 3 to be equals to 90. Now how do we get rid of the half over here? To get rid of the denominator 2, what we can do is we can multiply 2 to everything, okay, on both sides to get rid of the denominator. So now 2 will be gone and we will be left with x times x minus 3 and 180. Expand, you get x squared minus 3x to be 180. And now try to solve the equation and equate it to be equals to 0. We can use the quadratic formula in this case to help us find our solution. Okay, so we can use the quadratic formula. A will be equals to 1, B is equals to negative 3, C to be equals to negative 180, and we will get x to be equals to negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So using our calculator, we'll be able to get the answers. X to be equals to 15 or negative 12. Now take note that x is actually the measurement of the base of a triangle. So in this case, what answer should we accept? So therefore, the base of the triangle will be equals to the positive answer, 15 cm. Have you gotten the answer? When the length of each side of a square is increased by 5 cm, the area is 9 times that of the original square. So the length is increased by 5 cm. Now let x be the original length of each side of the square. So the first square and then a slightly bigger square. So if x is the original length, we will have over here, the measurement for the square will be x and x. And then now the length is increased by 5 cm. So now the measurement, the new length of each side of the square will now be, I take the original x, I increase it by 5. So it will be x plus 5 cm. Okay, so x plus 5, x plus 5. Now express the new area of the square in terms of x. So how do we find the new area? That will be x plus 5 times x plus 5, which is x plus 5 whole thing squared. Remember that this is actually a repeated factor. So expand it properly, we will be able to get the following. Simplifies to x squared plus 10x plus 25. Now, part C, find the value of x. How are we going to find the value of x? The statement tells us that the area is 9 times that of the original square. So the new area is now given to be 9 times the original area. So the new area, we have found the expression to be x squared plus 10x plus 25. It's 9 times the old area. What's the area of the original square? X times x will give you x squared. So this is 9x squared. So we'll try to solve the equation to make it equal to 0. Bring everything over to the other side. So this is what we get. And now we try to simplify the equation. 8x squared minus 10x minus 25 to be equals to 0. We can use the quadratic equation to help us to solve for the answers. A is 8, B is negative 10, and C is negative 25. Substituting it into our formula, where B is negative 10 And A is 8, C is negative 25, and 8. Let's try to calculate the answer. And we get an answer of x equals to 2.5 or x to be equals to negative 1.25. Now let's recall, they want us to find the value of x. What is the x in this case? X is actually the length. Can I have a negative length? No, right? So in this case, therefore, the value of x is the positive number 2.5 cm. Oh, they want the value, so I don't need to include the units. So the value of x is just 2.5. Have you gotten the answer? Abel and Sam ran a 42 kilometers marathon. The average speed of Abel was x kilometers per hour. The average speed of Sam is 3 kilometers per hour faster than that of Abel. So express the time taken in hours. So speed for Abel is x kilometers per hour. The time taken will now be distance divided by speed. So time taken by Abel, the distance divided by speed, hours. Now the speed of Sam is 3 kilometers faster. So that will be 3 kilometers faster than x itself. So x plus 3 kilometers per hour. And we know that the time by Sam, in this case, will be 42 over x plus 3 hours. Now let's use the following expressions to solve the next part of the question. Sam completed the race 28 minutes earlier than Abel. Form an equation. So 28 minutes. Now notice that both Abel and Sam's timing are in hours. So we need to change 28 minutes to 7 over 16, 15 hours. Okay, so that they have the same units. Now forming an equation, let's take a look at Abel's speed. Abel travels at a slower speed, so it takes a longer time. But Sam travels at a faster speed, so he'll take a shorter time. The difference is 28 minutes. So how do I find a difference to get a 28 minutes in this case? Something minus something to give you 7 over 15. We're going to use 28 minutes in hours instead. So what minus what? You will take the longer time minus the shorter time. Now what do we do next? This is a subtraction. So we are going to combine the denominators into 1. And that will be x and x plus 3. So we multiply by x plus 3 over to this side. And x over at the other two sides. To be equals to 7 over 15. Now expanding our numerator. $126. And I can expand my denominator as well. Now after that, what can we do? We can cross multiply and try to get the one line equation. So equal sign stays in the center. And cross over while 7 times x squared plus 3x. 15 cross over, 42x minus 42x, there will be no more. So 126 times 15. 1890 to be equals to 7x squared plus 21x. We're going to expand out, shift to one side. And let's form an equation. Okay, they want x squared. So I'm going to divide throughout by the number 7. Shown. Have you gotten the answer? Next, solve the equation and equals to 0. So we have x squared plus 3x minus 270 to be equal to 0. A is 1, B is 3, and C is negative 270. Using the quadratic formula, I will get the following answer over 2a. Now let's plug in the numbers. So B is 3, A is 1, C is negative 270. Using the calculator for the answer, we will be able to get the numbers. (15) or negative 18. Now, they only asked us to solve, so we're going to leave it there. Part D, they say find the race time of a bell. So we know that x is actually talking about speed, so hence it cannot be a negative speed. So we are going to say using x to be equals to the positive value 15. Time taken by a bell for the race will be taking the distance divide by the speed, and that gives me a total of 2.8 hours, but I want to change it to hours and minutes. So I can take the 0.8 times 60, or I can use my calculator button, the time, hours and minutes and seconds button, to help me get the answer. So have you gotten the answer? Okay, a bathtub can hold 1,200 liters of water. A hot water tap delivers water at a rate of x liters per minute. So for hot water, it means x liter takes for in 1 minute. Okay, find the time taken to fill up the whole bathtub. The whole bathtub has 1,200 liters. So 1,200 liters will take 1,200 over x times 1. So that will give you 1,200x minutes. Okay. For a cold water tap, it delivers water at a rate of x plus 10 liters per minute. So that means I will have x plus 10 liters in 1 minute. Now, time taken to fill up the bathtub, I have 1,200. So 1,200 liters divide by x plus 10 times 1. And that will give us 1,200 over x plus 10 minutes. Have you gotten the answer? A hot water tap alone takes 4 minutes longer to fill up the bathtub than the cold water tap. Write down an equation x and shows that it simplifies to the following. Now let's analyze a little bit of our information. For a hot water tap, it takes x liters per minute, so there is slightly less water, and therefore it will take a longer time to fill up the tap. But for the cold water, it has more water running through it, x plus 10. So if there's more water, it will take a shorter time. So this is 4 minutes for the difference. So how do I find the difference? Something minus something will give me 4 minutes. So we'll take the longer time minus the shorter time, which is the longer one minus the shorter one over x plus 10. Now what can we do? We'll make it into one single denominator. Multiply the numerator with x plus 10. And on the other side, multiply with x. So we'll get the difference to be 4 minutes. So 1200x times the following. Expand the numerator and denominator as well, and we'll get minus 1200x to be equals to 4. And what can we do next? We can cross multiply over, and equal sign stays in the center. 4 times x squared plus 10x. And on this side, both of them get cancelled away, so I'm left with 12,000. Expand our brackets, and we try to make the equation to be equals to 0 over to one side. Now the equation wants x squared, so we're going to divide by 4 throughout so that we can get the required equation shown. Have you gotten the answer? Last part of the question, solve the equation. So x squared plus 10x minus 3000 equals to 0. We can use the quadratic formula. A equals to 1, B equals to 10, and C equals to 3000. So x equals to minus B plus minus square root B squared minus 4AC over 2A. And plug in our values. And we can use our calculator mode 33 to help us find the solution. In this case, the value of x is 50 or negative 60. Now, part E, the question just says solve, right? So we're not going to reject any answer. But I know that x is actually time. So I should have 50. The positive answer instead. So time to find the cold water will be taken by the capacity. The whole thing is 1200 liters, and cold water is 50 plus 10. So that will give me a total of 20 minutes. Have you gotten the answer? Now that's the end of our practice for the day. See ya!